Hey y'all, I'm pregnant. That's it. That's the video. No, for real. I'm trying to do this video. I'm trying to be like, I'm trying to get into it because I really want to lay down and go to sleep. Is this a life update? Is this a life update? Like, is this a pregnancy vlog? Y'all want to know how the bun got in the oven? Nah, for real. Y'all do. Y'all want to know how 2 and 2 make 4? All right. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back, my friend. I'm trying to come up in this, but I don't want no negativity or positivity, so don't come in my comments with no negativity or positivity. I mean, you could be real. Just don't be over here bringing no BS. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
It was even bad then. You ain't stressing off no loving in the past tense. You already had them. Work at 8 a.m., finish round 5. Hoes talk down, you don't see them outside. They don't really be the same offline. You know dog days, baby, you know hard times. Yeah, doing no time for the last one. Saturday, call the girls, get them gas up.
What's up? Welcome back to my channel. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you are not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Comment, interact with me. I love to interact with you guys, so don't leave your girl hanging. So I decided to sit down and just do this like kind of like a Q&A video, just from some of the questions I've been asked about this pregnancy. But yeah, we're just gonna touch base on some of the common questions I'm asked. A big question I get from a lot of people is, how did me and the father meet? Are we together? And all of that good stuff. No, we are not together. We weren't even together when I conceived. Okay, it was supposed to be a fun thing. It was supposed to be a thing that I did on my time. Basically, I would smoke me a little weed, drink me a little drink, and feel better about myself and my situation at that time. And then I wanted some, and I would call him, and it was what it was. But I met him like November 2018, kind of ish. But we didn't really start like fooling around until after that, I think. I don't know, my math might be off, but anywho, I've known him for quite some time. We were dealing with each other. When I first met this guy, we actually met on POF, which is Plenty of Fish, which I do not recommend because online dating was a ghetto experience for me. Really, what I used to do on those apps like POF and Tinder and all of that, I would just go on the apps, just kind of just talking to people, because I would get like lonely at nighttime, and that's when my thoughts would really just get kind of depressive and stuff. So I just was like talking to adults and stuff. I had no intentions of meeting nobody. Nobody was supposed to be getting the cookies, and it was cool, and he just was like really good conversation, and he just kept pressing. I think we were talking for a minute on there before we even exchanged phone numbers, and then he was just like, I really want to meet you. And so I'm just like, well, I mean, it's been going so good. Meet him. So we had met up in a very public place. He didn't know where I lived or anything like that, and we just met and we hugged, and that was it. And I was actually going to a photography gig at that time, and he was going to work or just getting off of work or something. At the time, he said he worked like 2 jobs. I believed him. Why would he lie? And then we started to see each other. At that time, I was still getting myself together, whatever, going through a lot of stuff in my personal life. So it was cool to have an adult conversation with somebody that wasn't like focused on my child or my life, or it felt good. Things were going really well. We had great conversation. He would call every day. He would call in the morning before he would get up and go to the gym. And when I thought he was going to work and all of that. Fast forward, we ended up, sleeping with each other, whatever. And we're just building this beautiful bond. I go in the hospital for my breakdown, and then when I get out, the day I get out of the hospital, I get a phone call from a female, and she's like, you should have killed yourself. She was like, you should have killed yourself. You dirty bee. She was like, you should have killed yourself. Just kill yourself. You on POF looking for beep, 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 beep. And I'm like, chuckle, quick. Because at that time I was on a lot of medication. I was like just zonked, and it was like 5 a.m. Mind you, the day that I got out, he came and he spent all that time with me, the whole night with me. Didn't leave till 5 a.m. because he said he had to go to work. That's when home chick called. I find out he has a girlfriend. Womp womp. We stopped seeing each other for a little bit, but at that time we had already been talking to each other, sleeping with each other, like, so it was like feelings involved and everything a couple of months in. And granted, look, I told you I fall fast. I wasn't at my highest moment in life. You know, it is what it is. You know, I can't change the future. It is what it is. I learned a lesson. But yeah, so we ended up stop seeing each other, and then we kind of just fell back into it because we both were, you know, liking each other. I do not recommend at all, but I was in such a bad place mentally. Again, not an excuse. I don't recommend it. Focus on your healing. Uh, I ended up continuing the relationship, and also I didn't like the fact that she told me to kill myself the day that I got to the hospital, and she knew that I just got out the hospital for mental health issues because she read all the text messages and stuff. So I said, F her. You know, hurt people hurt people. So again, we continued seeing each other. Then we stopped seeing each other for a while. I started getting myself together. I was feeling good in life. It was like maybe 9 months went by. We hadn't talked to each other, whatever, whatever. He calls my phone on New Year's. Fast forward to the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic. He called me on New Year's Eve, and I had his number blocked and him blocked on Facebook and all of that stuff. When all of this stuff like kind of came out, I just was like, you know, I'm over this, whatever. So I had him blocked. I had her blocked. I had everybody blocked. You know, block party. I don't play. And so he calls me. I'm like, oh, you know who this is. My first mind was to hang up on him, which I should have. But I was still attached. I was still struggling a little bit mentally, like just trying to get myself together. And he was just like he wanted to talk. Da, da, da. He just wanted to apologize for how he treated me and bringing me into that situation, knowing, you know, everything I'm going through. You know, saying all the right words, whatever, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Hang up. Nothing. I'm thinking it's good. He's like, I just want to wish you a happy new year. You know, sorry about everything. And we should have stopped talking there, but we didn't. Like a few days later, he called me again. And he was like, well, I just want to meet up and talk. At this time, I was in that like hard-hearted space where I was just like, F niggas, like, you know, whatever, whatever. I'm a dog them. I'm a dog them how they dog me. That didn't work out too well for me, but because I just don't have that in me to do. So I let him come over, and one thing led to another, and we was dropping draws and swapping body parts and sauces. So this continued for a little bit, and then I got kind of bored with it because it was just like I don't want you. I don't want to be in a relationship with you. I always made that clear to him that I don't want a relationship. I don't want to, like, I made that, I said this to his face numerous times. Like, I don't want a relationship from you because what you going to do? You going to cheat on me like you cheating on her. So we stopped talking again. And then he called me a couple of months later and was just like, they broke up. And he was like, you know, he just really needed a friend. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay, okay, cool. You know, I'm a nice person. I got a big heart. Come on over. Come through. Pull up. You know, it's daytime. So he's just like, yeah, we just gonna get a bottle. We gonna, you know, whatever. And I don't drink. So I was just like, you can drink. And at the time, he had gotten into like a fight or whatever. And somebody bit his face up and shit. It was like all weird. It was weird. I was like, oh my God. It was like, don't look at me. And so he was like, just pouring his heart out type stuff. And I'm just sitting there listening, like, okay. And I'm like, maybe y'all should like call it quits. Now I'm not saying this because I don't want him to be necessarily with me, but it was just like I don't like toxic things. Like I just felt like a bunch of negativity. I'm like, y'all are literally hurting each other. Like you're literally doing stuff to hurt her. She's doing stuff to hurt you. Like, why would you want to stay in that situation? I'm speaking from like a friend perspective with him. We sitting far apart on the couch. None of that. And so I'm like, okay, I'm like, well, you should just, you know, but I said, you know, do what you do. He talking about, well, I'm loyal to her, da, 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 blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we're just talking on the phone a couple of days, and then he ends up come back over and shebang shabab. Now, here's the thing. Me and him have very strong sexual attraction for whatever reason. Um, if for nothing else, like when we started seeing each other this last time, I was emotionally detached from the situation. I had been hurt enough. I had cried enough over it. I beat myself up enough over it. And I'm just like, this man keeps coming back. This woman keeps disrespecting me as if from the beginning, from the get go, she was very, very disrespectful. Like I could play the messages for y'all and everything. Like, and I really did not know. Like I had no idea that there was another woman involved. There was no red flags. People want to say that, oh, da, da, da. I'm like, no, he was staying over at my house like multiple nights in a row. He had his own stuff, but I'll get all into detail and all that stuff. But there was no red flags. So it was a shocker when all of that came out, and it was just like kind of jacked up because I was, just mentally not in a great place. But whatever. And then he lied again. And the reason why we reconnected is off of a lie because he told me that they broke up, which I shouldn't have believed him. But honestly, I think a part of me thought he was full of crap, but I just wanted some. So I was just like, without upping my body count, and I know that we good together. Let's just do this. And, you know, we did it. We just had a very strong connection like that, like doing that. Here's the thing. When I feel comfortable and I feel safe with a person, um, I let my guard down. Even when I'm being like, if he a dog, I'm a dog too. Like I let my guard down and I trust that person. So obviously, like we've been sleeping with each other for a while. I trust him with my body. I think that he trusts me with his body because everything that we're doing, you gotta trust somebody with their body because you wouldn't be doing it if you did. If you didn't, and I just was looking for that mutual respect and that wouldn't be there. And I would always tell him that I'm not on birth control. I don't believe in abortion. Do not do that to me because, again, I'm not on birth control and I don't believe in abortion. And I didn't want no kids. So it was like, okay, we have this understanding. Obviously, y'all, I know that it's not 100% foolproof. I know. But I tracked my ovulation and all of that. So I wouldn't be in a situation like that. This time just was a slip up. So the very last time that we were together, I was very intoxicated and I was very high. I had started smoking weed about a year and a half ago because I wanted to get off of medication. I wanted to off of psych meds because they were making me feel weird in my body, and they kept changing my prescription. And instead of finding something that like fit, we finally had found a prescription that fit, and I ended up having a severe allergic reaction to it. Like my throat was closing up and everything, and I couldn't breathe and all of that. So I had to come off of it. And that was like the only thing that worked and actually was making me happy. So I decided after doing some research that there was people would dose with marijuana. So I wasn't really smoking to get high and achieve that highness unless I wanted to. And that night I wanted to. And I was alone. Eli was always safe. He wasn't here. And I had a couple of drinks and he called and the do say make you loose and he came over. I don't even remember much about that night, to be absolutely honest. um it's very like kind of broken what I do remember. It wasn't rape or nothing, y'all, don't think like that, but it was just like I was just that intoxicated that I didn't remember and high that I didn't really remember much of the night. um I do remember waking up and he was still in my house in the morning, which was weird. And we did end up doing the deed again. Uh, but he had pulled out. So that night, I couldn't remember if he did or didn't, which I'm guessing he didn't because we woke up still intertwined with one another. Um, Never in my mind did it cross my like, hey, I could be pregnant. Never did it cross my mind that, hey, I could be pregnant. I found out in August, and I had really no clue, or never once did I suspect that I was with child. I always get breast tenderness and I always get nauseous before my cycle comes. So I just racked it up to be like, dang, this is an extreme case. But after it was like 2 weeks, my breasts just continued to get tender, super tender, like hot. They weren't hot, but that's I'm trying to, um, they were super tender and they wouldn't stop, and I was so freaking nauseous. Like my gag reflex was on 1,000. Like I would brush my teeth and actually accidentally tap, and it was like I was like, this ain't it. I didn't get a pregnancy test until after I missed my period, and I actually waited a week. I waited a whole week because I'm like, I don't want a false negative. I want to be sure, and I still wanted to give myself time for my cycle to show up. And it just said, "Girl, we ain't coming no more until you done." And so finally I broke down and I went to the dollar store and I got a dollar store pregnancy test. That boom, that baby lit up right away. I called my friend at the time crying. I'm like, oh my God, like, girl, she went to the store and she got like, the high end ones. It was like a box of 3. She took one just to make sure they wasn't faulty, which I don't understand that, but we retarded. When you thinking like that, you ain't thinking. I took both of them. Both of them lit up right away. I immediately burst into tears. I was just like, oh my God, 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 oh my God. I called my mom. I was crying. Actually, she was trying to talk to me. Like, my friend was trying to talk me down. I'm just like, okay, it wasn't really helping because it was just like, this is something I gotta deal with on my own. I'm too old for this. Crying like a teenager. I knew what I was doing. It is what it is. So I called my mom crying, and I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't ready for another child. Like, I really wasn't trying to have another child. Like, I just got stable. Like, I don't know. I was just breaking down. So I guess that answers the question of how did I feel when I found out. I wasn't happy. I was actually very sad, and I actually ended up slipping into a deep depression for the first couple of months. Um, Antenatal depression is a real thing because I already had a clinical diagnosis of depression. This triggered me to go backwards, and I had fell into a very, very severe depression in the beginning of my pregnancy. And I began to just kind of detach from real life. And I went about life as if I wasn't pregnant. I just was like, not like doing things like, drinking and smoking and doing stuff like that. I immediately stopped doing all of that. But that also made it really hard for me because those were my coping skills. I was drinking here and there. I was getting high. I was smoking cigarettes. I was trying to just balance myself out the best that I could. And I was using sex to cope with life. And then to be in a situation where you have to cut off all of that, it was like, and face some really, really huge news. It was really, really hard for me. I thank God that I, am actively in therapy because that did help me get through a really, really rough time. So how did I tell him? I didn't want to tell him, to be honest. I really had no intentions of saying anything to him. And I say this because I stopped talking to him a little over a month before I found out I was pregnant. The last time we had seen each other and we were intimate and we did some things, I knew that was the last time that I would see him because I just felt like, I don't know, it was like a light bulb went off in my head and I just was like, I cannot keep degrading myself like this. I deserve so much better. Even though I'm doing this out of a place of like, I don't give a F, it's still very damaging to me and I want to be better. I want to be healed. I want to be, healthy and be able to be in a position to find someone. And as long as I keep sleeping with this person, I'm not going to be able to find anyone. So I had decided that the relationship was over. Like, and he said something really stupid to me. He was just like, I don't care. Even when you're married, I'm still gonna F with you. Like, and I guess he meant that as a compliment, but it was real cringy and it was real like, nigga, what did you just say to me? So I just was like, this is over. And I literally, the day he left my house, I watched him like through the balcony walk away, and I was just like, it's over. And he had cut his locks off, and he looked weird without his locks, and I didn't like that. Like, he wasn't like ugly. He was never really like super cute, but I like men with locks. And I met you with locks, and you just gonna make an executive decision like that and think that we still gonna just be busting it up. Like, you ruined the fantasy. So, and on top of that, the very present thing, you have a girlfriend that you live with, that you've been living with, that you've been lying to me this whole entire time about. So I didn't want to be that person anymore, you know? And people might be upset and have something to say about that, but you know what? Kick rocks. Like, it is what it is. I can't take it back. I did it. I'm not proud of it. I don't recommend it, but I did it. So it is what it is. And now I got pregnant with this man's child who has a whole girlfriend. So now I just made the situation even messier. That's why I wasn't going to tell anybody why, I wasn't going to tell him that I was pregnant. But then I was talking to some people, and then I talked to my dad, and he's just like, you can't do that, you know. So morally, I started feeling all conflicted, and I was like, let me just tell this man that I'm pregnant. So I text him, and these text messages are a little bit graphic, you guys. So I want to make sure that, you know, this is not for children. Reiterate, this is not a children's video. This is for adults. And if you are turned off by vulgar language, like in the beginning of the video, do not watch this part. Do not keep going, because I get real ratchet in how I was talking to him. And it is what it is. After he responded like that, I was like, okay, cool. Okay, he made his intention clear. He does not want to be involved. I don't force nobody to be involved. I'm just gonna go ahead and about my business. I hadn't even told anybody besides my mom and my friend that knew that I was pregnant. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep it to myself and then pop out with a baby and be like, hey guys, I got 2 kids. And then I had my first prenatal appointment scheduled on Eli's birthday. And when I went there, you know, they test you for everything under the sun, honey, and you know, do the exam. They're like, everything's looking good, you know, start your prenatals, The next day, I get a phone call from the nurse, and she's like, you have chlamydia. I said, what? I was so like, I went through so many range of emotions because one, I have never in my life had chlamydia. And in my mind, you told me I had like HIV or something, which I know is nothing in comparison. But I'm just saying, for a person who kind of, I prided myself in like not being with partners that gave me stuff, and being up on my reproductive health, and always getting tested every 6 months when I'm active with a person, and going to my paths and everything. Like, and then you tell me, I just found out I'm pregnant, and then you tell me I have chlamydia. I went from sadness, hurt, rage, anger. I wanted to run him over with my car. So, of course, I tried not to. I was like, you know, Ashley, just don't even stir the pot. Just don't even. I couldn't. I was so emotional. My emotions were just like, rah. And so I sent him these messages. And I had also found out some other information, as you guys can see. And this was the message exchange that we had. After that, I decided that I was done completely. I didn't care if this man ever seen this child again. I just had to get away from the entire situation. And so I went on a blocking spree again. Fast forward, I'm about 5 months pregnant, and out of nowhere, I haven't spoken to this man in 20 weeks. After that whole thing, he never called one time. He never reached out. He never came by. He never said anything else about the baby. He just, And after how he responded to me telling him that and trying to make it seem like I was out here hoeing it up and I gave it to him, I was just like, yo, now you're disrespecting me. So I just was like, I'm done. I was trying to not be depressed anymore. I was trying to just live my life. And that's why I didn't tell anybody. I just kept it to myself and kept chugging along, living my life. But anyway, when I'm 20 weeks pregnant, I get this message on Facebook, which I'm not even sure how he did it, because I said I must have unblocked him for something, and because I don't like, his page was blocked, but I don't know, it was weird. Like, I could have sworn that page was blocked. He sends me a message, and it's just retarded. And this is how he responds. And I'm just like, so after that, I'm thinking everything's cool. He kept sending messages and kept trying to call, and I'm like, I don't want to speak to you. Like, I'm good. I haven't asked you for anything. I don't want anything. You made your intentions clear. Like, I'm good. He kept trying to say that people were talking about it, and I'm like, wasn't nobody talking about nothing, boy. Don't nobody even know you or her. Like, sit down, crunch crunch. Like, you doing too much. Um, and he just kept going in about that. He started calling me from different numbers because I blocked his number. I blocked that page. I blocked his page, all of that, because I'm like, how are you seeing stuff on my stuff? And I said, plus, I'm not even talking about you. Um, so after he kept doing that and he calling me, telling me people were talking about it, I decided to make a post on my social media, which some of you guys seen, announcing that I was pregnant. I never mentioned him one time. I mentioned what I was going through, how I had been depressed, and how I was given an STD while I was pregnant by this person. How I was like, I just gave a very generic posting, and it was very intimate, but it was what I felt on my heart I needed to share for whomever, for myself, just to get out of the funk that I was in. Well, apparently, this is where it gets really stupid and messy. His girlfriend's sister was following me on social media. She sends these posts to her sister. This post to her sister. Which must have triggered him, because then he starts calling me at work. Um, from different numbers. I block everyone every time he calls me from a different number. And I'm just like, please stop calling me. I just kept saying, like, I don't want to argue. Just please stop calling me. Just stop calling. He just kept wanting me to see his side. I was just like, I don't care. I don't want to talk to you. If it's not about the baby, I don't want to talk to you. If it's not about the baby, just leave me alone. And he just wouldn't let that be that. And so I blocked the number, kept it moving. Fast forward a day or two, it's like, and this is like right before Christmas. He calls at 4 in the morning and was like, "You dumb B, keep my name out your mouth. Um, you gonna stop talking about me. I don't give a F about you, you stupid B. Since you don't want to answer my phone, now I'm gonna come after your family. I'm gonna come to your house. Like, just threatening me. Like, and my mom was here. My mom heard everything. And so I'm like, so I wasn't making shit up. And I was just like, what? And at first, like, I kept hanging up, declining the call. And then I answered. I was just like, dude, just leave me alone. And he's just going, just yelling, just yelling. I don't even know what he was saying. That's how bad he was yelling. And I remember my mom had grabbed the phone from me, but I just hurried up and hung it up because I'm just like, you're gonna escalate this way far if you disrespect my mom. So I hang up, and him concoct this story to get my cousin's phone number from her sister. Now, this girl has my cousin's phone number because she's the godmom of some of her kids. I'm like, so not only is this girl sending messages off my page, and when I posted my pregnancy announcement, she called my cousin and was like, why would Ashley put that up there? Which made herself look guilty. And my cousin called me and told me that. So I went back and I said, if anybody had a question, they could have came straight to me because I'm the one that posted it. The last time I checked, I'm a grown woman and I can post whatever I want. But don't worry about it no more because now you're blocked. And just know that I know. So, messy boots, you're gone. And when I blocked her, she calls my cousin back and was like, did you tell Ashley? Obviously, bitch, she told me. Like, duh. So, but anyway, her sister concocted the story and got my cousin's number. And so now her and this child's father is calling my cousin at 4:35 in the morning. Because I blocked the number and he couldn't call me no more. And it just got stupid. And they kept calling her. I did get a little upset with my cousin because I felt like, why did they even feel comfortable enough to call you? Why did you keep answering the phone after the initial phone call? Because after she got off the phone with them, she turns around and she calls me. Because I sent her the messages, the screenshot of the messages, and told her everything. And when she woke up and she was reading them, she was like, girl, they called me and she's telling me whatever. I'm thinking that, okay, we're done now with this weird ass situation. We're done. But they decided they were going to keep calling and FaceTiming. And he was trying to call from his Facebook. And then she calls from the girlfriend calls from her number. My cousin, mind you, still, nobody has talked to me. And this woman has not one time ever called me. And they're telling him, her and him are telling my cousin that she doesn't really know the real me, that I'm crazy, I'm obsessed with him. He was saying that I don't take care of my son, that I sleep with men in front of my son, that I've done all this stuff sexually while my son was, there present and he saw all of it. He was saying that I was doing like all kinds of sex acts in front of my child, and that people don't know the real me, that I'm not no angel, that I'm not no good person. Never anything about the baby, mind you, but you're talking to my blood cousin, saying these things. This person who I grew up with, that since I moved back from California, like, we have been like A1 day ones, like, and I'm just like, who does that? First off, y'all are some weirdos. I said, but you're saying all this after I didn't talk to you for 5 months? Nigga, I blocked you on everything. If I was obsessed with you, why would I keep blocking you? Why would you called me from 7 or 8 different numbers? Like, and then you concocted a story to call my cousin to talk about me, never about the baby? Like, what is really going on? It got so weird and crazy. And I just told my cousin, like, just stop answering. Like, what are you talking to them for? Like, why do they even feel comfortable calling you back? Like, I don't know. I started to feel weird because I'm just like, I'm going to start having an issue with you because you keep making this go further. Like, just block them like I did and move on. You're not friends with them, right? Right? Like, you didn't even know this man until, it came out that I was seeing him and all this stuff. And it just was like, I can't tell nobody what to do. But I said, I don't want to fool with none of them. I said, the raggedy sister, I don't want to, none of them. It is what it is. I said, all these people involved in something that has nothing to do with them. I said, then they're going around spreading these lies. Like, what are you even talking about, nigga? Like, you tripping. And so I guess the final call that she had with my cousin, she was just like, she tried to be remorseful. Because then I took to Facebook. And I said, okay, y'all want to tell lies? These text messages and messages, all that I showed y'all, I posted them publicly on my page. Not my best moment in life, but I was over it, you guys. You don't understand. I have been being harassed for days. Excuse me, for days. I posted everything and left it to public opinion because I didn't care no more. I don't like this man. I'm gonna attach this man. I don't care. He's trying to, drag my character through the mud. I'm pregnant. I'm emotional. Like, nigga, you don't know what I've been through these last couple of months. You trying to get me to feel sorry for you. And I have not. It was just like, no. So that was out there. I guess Wind was getting around to different channels of who knew who, and stuff was being said to her. And I said, you know what? At the end of the day, you guys aren't worth any of the stress that you're bringing on my life. You're not worth any of it. I honestly think he was just trying to stress me out to the point that I would have a miscarriage, honestly, because who in their right mind does that? I mean, going around and saying, like, I got 302'd, and I'm like, I never got 302'd. Like, you're weird. That I was doing this to blow up on YouTube. I'm like, dude, I've had my channel since 2008. I'm like, he was just being so psychotic. And she was as well, because any grown woman, this woman is like 40, any woman that sits there and lets a man degrade a woman like that, especially one that's pregnant with his child, even if you didn't think it was his, like, common sense is like, well, why is he going so hard against her? Obviously, something that she's saying must be true, because if you thought I was lying and you thought this baby wasn't really yours, you would not be doing all of that. So it just got really, really, really trifling and messy, and I don't like that. So I had to basically, I changed my name on all my social media. Some of you saw that. And then I ended up just deactivating my Facebook for the time being, because I was over it. I didn't want to have any contact. I didn't want them to be able to find me. I mean, I still have my Instagram, and I did have it under a different name. But I just basically, anything I posted about the baby, or if I post pictures of my son, is all done on my other Instagram, which is a private Instagram, for like my friends and family and people that like I like know. Like, my public page is public, it has all the ratchet stuff on it, whatever. But I don't put anything like personal kind of up on there, because I just was tired of it. I was like, this is weird. I've never been anything like this, and it's just weird, and I'm pregnant. And you're not about to do that to me while I'm pregnant. So that's how that played out. Excuse me. I know that was like long and drawn out, but that's how that whole thing played out with the father. He just acted like a douchebag out of nowhere. So we haven't been speaking since then. I have no desire to have him anywhere around me or my child, honestly, because the fact that he would just disrespect me and degrade me and say those things to me, like, when I literally did nothing. I did nothing but announce my pregnancy. I never said his name or anything like that. I never called him out until he started harassing me, and threatening me. And I just didn't understand, like, how could you go from that? You were just telling me you loved me. Weirdo. So, it is what it is. I'm not the one that was doing all of that and then going home and sleeping next to somebody else. And this woman just, whatever. But, that's how that played out. Okay? So that is the story of this mystery man. So no, he's not involved. And he likes to do a lot of lip service, and I recognized that early on, and I was just like, cool, it's not my business. My baby will be fine. It's unfortunate, but you know what? I raised one son, and I will raise another one, because it's not my fault that the fathers are meatball heads. So that's about it. This video is probably long enough. I just kind of talked about that. I guess I'll come back on here and do just strictly pregnancy vlogs because um yeah, now this is out the way. Like, cause I know that this was a burning question. I get it a lot. People are like, well, what about the father? What about the father? You know, and it's just like, you know, with Eli, I was actually in a relationship. You know, we were living together. This person was not a relationship. It was just basically a jump off, a long term jump off that I should have jumped off of, literally. But I don't know. I love y'all. I hope this answers some of y'all questions. Um, you know, and listen, y'all can keep y'all judgments. I'm not a child. I'm very aware of the situation. I'm not the first person to be involved in a situation like this, and I won't be the last. And I definitely learned a lesson. Like I said, when we initially met, I didn't know. And I found out, I tried to walk away. I just didn't love myself. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care what I was doing. So I stayed. And you know, when you're self medicating and alcohol and drugs are involved, when I say drugs, I ain't on no hard drugs. I'm talking about some marijuana. I ain't talking about no crack, ecstasy, none of that. You know, so um yeah. I'm just gonna I don't know, y'all. I'm getting sleepy, so my words starting to ramble. Y'all can see my eyes feeling getting low, and that ain't cause I'm doing nothing. Just girl, just sleepy. My baby keep kicking me because he's like, you've been sitting in this position too long. Yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.